Welcome back. We are forced again to look at the issue of women in politics. We note that over the years, women have been relegated to the background in issues of overall development, especially in developing countries like ours. Historical evidence has shown that women have for long been playing crucial roles in our national life, and you will recall names like Margaret Ekpo, Funlayo Ransom Kuti, Hajia Gambo Sawaba. Of course, you will also recall the president of Sierra Leone and Liberia, and people like Senator Hillary Clinton. Those names will readily come to mind when you talk about, on the global stage, women in politics. What is the situation in our country? Why are women still, somewhere in the back room when you talk about politics? To look at this with us this morning, it's my pleasure to welcome, there's a man on the panel today. It's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Michael Akonji, who is Director of Programs Initiative for Equal Rights. Good morning. Good morning. And thank you for joining us to discuss this very crucial topic.
Thank you.
Next to him is Mrs. Comfort Ogunye, who is Executive Director of Female Leadership Forum.
Good morning. Thank you.
And on my right is Mrs. Kemi Ogunyemi, a women's advocate.
Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Let me start with Mrs. Ogunye, if I may. What do you think is the reason for the poor representation of women, especially in issues concerning politics?
Thank you, Alero. First of all, let me acknowledge that we are starting the conversation on the right tone and talking to the issues of women in politics, particularly within the context of the analysis you made. There is an overwhelming consensus that indeed women have played a very crucial role, just as you said. And part of the conversation or this consensus is also that women indeed have made some effort, some significant effort. But the critical question for me, and for a majority of women, is that how have we been able to reinforce or to add value to these minimal gains? If we've not been able to do that, what do we need to do? What we have today, does it indeed represent our aspiration, our collective aspiration? Is this where we desire to be? Is this what women should be doing? If we are not doing what we should be doing, why are we not doing what we should be doing? And so within the context of this conversation, we may be, it may become imperative, but we may be forced to look at, for instance, our political system, our political institutions, the gatekeepers of our political institutions, the role that women themselves need to play. For instance, we can start this, and I think that we can make a lot of progress by talking about our own personal story and why we think that we need to push ahead. For instance, in 1995-96, and let me just, my own story, very short but and very simple. I have always been interested in things that go around me. Even as a student, even as a child, as a girl child in primary school, I made a conscious effort to be a member of the Girls Brigade. I was a member of the Girls Guide. I was very oriented towards community service. So when I got to university, it was very natural for me to be part of student unionism. I was a very strong member of the Congress. In 1995-96, I emerged as the first female president of the National Association of Nigerian Students. I was president of NANS from 1995-96. And for 10 years, we had an initiative that we're talking about women and leadership. We're talking about women and leadership development for young women under the Female Leadership Forum, which we founded in 1995-96 as a campus initiative, and then ran as an NGO between 2000 to 2010. And so for a decade, I did that successfully. Consciously, I just discovered that, yes, it's good to advocate. You advocate for women's rights. Even as a lawyer, I've done that consistently. But it got to a critical point where I discovered that even as a professional, if I didn't make the conscious effort to become a card-carrying member of a party, or to even join a party and also lend my voice to this process, to be part, to make an impact in the change process, that at the end of the day, I will only end up either doing post-mortem analysis, just talking about, just either being a spectator while others are just a spectator, just watching a football match, and then, or just doing analysis. And I said, no, this cannot continue. And so what I did was to pick an interest. Okay, let's look at what is available. What window of opportunities do women even have to either reinforce the gain or even make more gains? And so I was looking at the party constitution. And I think that the media can even take that as a major issue. Let's even look at the party constitutions. What opportunities do they provide for women? For instance, I am very familiar with the constitution and the manifesto of the All Progressive Party and the All Progressive Congress, the APC. And I know that party affirms that indeed Nigerian politics is skewed in favor of the men. It is there, the entire section 16. And it also realizes, it also affirms that no country can indeed make progress when one half of its population are underrepresented, undermined, economically and politically weak, while the other is politically dominant, economically powerful. So they realize that. And I think that having acknowledged that kind of a scenario, it is a very great opportunity for women who understand the deep-seated issues to begin to say, look, yes, this is what our manifesto says. So we can indeed be part of this change process, and they can locate it within the whole agenda of building a better country. If Nigeria is a better country today, if you look at all the countries of the world, you made mention of countries where women are doing very well, in Rwanda, in Norway, even in the Scandinavian countries, where women are in leadership. Studies have shown that countries where women have substantial representation indeed do well. So if women begin to build into this overall agenda of having a better country, of ensuring that we have a secure nation. So we are talking about women are lending their voices to issues around security, and then around the 2015 election, what should be or what should not be. We are looking at providing employment for over 40 million Nigerian youths who are unemployed. We are looking at the issue of fighting corruption. So if women now key into this overall agenda and we have a better country, then having addressed these bigger issues, then we can now come down to say, look, fine, now that we are here, this is what we need to do to ensure that women have substantial, overwhelming number in parliament. I mentioned parliament because people say, oh, we did 35%. We gave appointments to 30 women. These appointments are not tenured. They are not elective positions. And so you can say, okay, you are my minister today, tomorrow I don't like what you've done, I don't like the way you're going about, and then I sack you. So we can now say, based on what the manifestos have provided, what are the measures that, what are the minimum demands that women can have in respect to what the party manifestos and the party constitutions have provided. But unfortunately, Alero, a lot of women, because we say, there are so many women in politics, there are different levels of organization. Yeah. In the APC, for instance, there are about 7 levels of organization: the polling unit, the ward, the local government, the state, then you have the senatorial and the national. Many of the women you see, about 80% of them, are participating at the polling level and the ward unit, either as canvassers, as party mobilizers. These women do not have, and I'm saying that with all sense of modesty, and I think that they do not have the kind of sophistry, the kind of sophistication, because as the politics go high, it becomes very sophisticated. They may not have the deep sophisticated. It becomes very sophisticated and very complex. So they may not have the competence, and they may not be able to force the debate. And
I will come back.